Good morning. I'm compulsive overeater. I'm Brenda. I'm glad to be here this morning. I apologise. I've been sort of in and out of the meeting just because it's been a very, very busy week, and I had some people here with me and they left very early in the morning and I had things I needed to do. But I'm here, I'm grateful, I'm abstinent, and I'm grateful that I can be of service. I came to OA in 22nd of January 2011. Now, prior to that, I had always been trying to lose weight. As a child, food had been a reward, and kind of my dad always made comments about my weight, but then he also gave me food as a treat as well. So, I had that kind of confusion about food, and it continued on into adulthood. So I was always slightly overweight, and into my teens, when I look back at myself, I wasn't as overweight as I thought, but I was overweight, and then got into 20s, and my weight really, really, really went up, and I was always trying to lose weight. I had a friend, and we would do all kinds of crazy things to try and lose weight. I went to all the weight loss programs. I did all of those things, but they didn't work for me. Obviously, they didn't work for me. And I realized that it wasn't my weight was an issue when I was 16 stones, which is 224 pounds for those of us in the world who work in pounds. And I remember at the time there was a boxer called Frank Bruno, and he was a heavyweight boxer, and he was 6'4", and he also weighed 16 stones. Now I'm a 5'4" woman, and I realized that there was a big problem because I shouldn't weigh the same as a heavyweight boxer, but also the health challenges that brought as well. I have a condition which meant I lost my eyesight. My eyesight would come and go. And one of the things they said to me was, lose weight, but I didn't. And I had to have 2 major operations as a result of that, but I still didn't lose weight. I sort of half-heartedly. I was always a star of weight loss programs. So if ever I went to a weight loss program, I would be that person that in the first week would almost lose a stone. Guaranteed. Every weight loss program I went to, I would be the star. But then what would happen was I'd lose some weight, feel really good about it, and think, I'm cured, I'm fixed. I've done it, I've cracked it. I'm finally that person who has figured out how to lose weight. And then I can eat whatever I like again. And so, of course, every time I did that, I would put more and more weight on, as hence I ended up being 16 stones or 224 pounds. As I said earlier on, I had a friend, and we've known each other since we were 11, and we were always doing crazy diets together. And I heard about OA, and I told her about it, and she was just like, I'm not going to a room of fat people. We were fat people, but she said, I'm not going to a room of fat people to talk about food. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm not going either. And that was 5 years past before I actually went to OA. And in that time, I tried absolutely everything. I always say, we talk about having a power greater than ourselves. And, that's different things for different people. But I'd always had a faith, I'd always had belief. And I always believed that I believed in the power greater than myself. And it wasn't until I came to OA that I realized the power greater than myself was myself. And so that was why I was in the mess that I was in. But I'll talk a little later about how that happened. It was that when I eventually said, okay, I'm going to come to OA, the thing that drove me to OA was I'd got so big, so uncomfortable. I just had had enough of everything, and life was, on the outside, it would appear I was making good money. I had a good job, but I was also in a huge amount of debt because at that point in the UK, if you earned money, good money, they give you credit cards. And so I took them because I'm polite. they're offering them. And they kept on offering them, and I kept on taking them. And it would be interest free, and I'd move the money on. I think in the end, I had about 15 credit cards. I mean, that's total madness. But I felt, I was in control. I was living, not living the dream, but, I was living a life, and it would appear that I had some form of success apart from my weight. So I got to a point where I remember it was Christmas, and at Christmas time, I live with people who are not compulsive overeaters and who can eat normally. And so we would have every kind of food in the house. It was Christmas time. It was time to eat what you like, drink what you like. And I I just had enough. I just, when you get to that point where it's just like, I'm just done. I'm done. It wasn't that I wanted to end my life, but I just felt that hopelessness. And so I decided I was going to eat everything in the house. And I did really try. And I ate and I ate and I ate and I ate and I ate. But what happened was I became incredibly constipated. I mean, it was absolute agony. My body just couldn't take it. So I was in this agony, like physically and emotionally, I was in absolute agony. And I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I can't. Yeah, this is not working for me. And so I then decided to seek out OA. And I came across a meeting that was about 25 minutes away from my home. And so I thought, right, I'm going to that meeting. So I got up, it was a Saturday morning as well, got up, went on my way to find the meeting. But OA is often in church halls or, places that are kind of not necessarily really obvious. And this was in some kind of, there was a daycare center or something, but it wasn't obvious. And so I couldn't find it. And I was going up and down this road trying to find this place, but I didn't do what I would normally do. I didn't give up because I thought, even if I get 5 minutes, I am going, and it was because I just felt that desperateness. And so I kept going up and down this road, and about half an hour later, I found it. And it was just like, thank God, I found it. And I went into the meeting and they were talking. And of course, I didn't know what they were talking about because, it's a big book and it's, hello, I'm a compulsive overeater. And it's like, I had no idea what they were talking about. But even though I didn't know what they were talking about, I knew that I needed to stay there. And so I heard them talking, and there were some things that people said. I remember this lady just talking about what she was eating and how she was eating, and it was crazy, but it was my crazy, It wasn't, I couldn't identify with it. It was like, yeah, I know about that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I would do. And so I decided, I knew I was going to stay. And I remember crying in that meeting, but I think it was just like the weight of everything, when you kind of just like, whew, yeah, yeah. And it was like that for me. So I stayed at that meeting. The meeting closed there, but then it moved over to Greenwich. And I went over to Greenwich, and that's where I've been ever since. We're now online, but that's where I started. And I had a sponsor initially, but she became unwell. I mean, physically unwell, not to do with the program, so she couldn't sponsor me. But I found the sponsor that I have today in that meeting, and I still have that same sponsor. God bless her. It's a long time together. That she's given me all of the time and listened to all of my madness. I appreciate sponsors so much. But yeah, I still have that sponsor. But yeah, I went into that meeting and I became abstinent, and that was it. Now, when I say that was it, it wasn't like I was cured. It was then that journey of understanding, when birthdays came around or Christmas came around, it wasn't that I was going to go back and eat like I used to, because that's what I always did with the diets that I went on. It's like, it's somebody's birthday. Yay, we're going to eat. It's Christmas. We break it and then we go back to it. It was like my sponsor was like, no, it's 3 meals a day, nothing in between. With my sponsor, I was able to work out what my trigger foods were, and have a look at the things that that would work for my body. And, it was amazing because it was just like, oh, okay then. But it was that thing of, how am I going to do a birthday and not have, all the treats everybody else has? How am I going to do Christmas? I mean, is it possible to do Christmas without eating all the treats?
5 minutes to go, Brenda.
Thank you. But of course it was. Because what she said to me is, are you there for, if I'm at a birthday party or a special occasion, am I there for the occasion or am I there for the food? And it was to shift my focus. What am I showing up for? If I'm celebrating somebody's getting married or, celebrating some joyous occasion, I'm there for the occasion. I eat, but I don't have to eat everything, and it just made such a difference. Now that only came about through working the program and going through the steps. It wasn't an overnight thing. And even the weight loss happened over a number of years. It wasn't that within months, I had lost I lost about 5 stone, 5 stone plus. It wasn't that happened just instantly. I had to work the program, and I had to work the program with my sponsor, and I had to be willing to take on a sponsor's suggestions no matter what. And there's the 3 questions. Is it, am I willing to go to any length? Am I willing to take on a sponsor's suggestions? Am I willing to put everything, put my food first? And those things, when my sponsor asked me those questions, of course I said yes, because I didn't know what it involved. But I'm incredibly grateful that I did say yes. And I say that to sponsor, the same things to sponsees now. I start with that, because it isn't that it's just like I'm magically cured. I have to work a program. I have to do my 3 meals a day, nothing in between, write out my food plan, talk to my sponsor, show up at meetings, give service, use the tools. I have to do those things, but I have to do them every single day. Um, I can't, I don't say I have a day off from this, which I did when I was in weight loss programs. I'd take some time off, but I have to do it every day. And because I know time's running out, I'm just going to say I have a completely different life. I became debt free, not last year, maybe the year before, because my sponsor, working with my sponsor, it was about being honest. So I became debt free. I paid off my debts. I moved to a new country in 2015. I have a completely different life. And I say to people, it's an amazing life. Now, when I say it's an amazing life, I do not mean my life is perfect, not by any means. I experience loss, hurt, sadness, everything else. But what I'm not doing is eating over it, because it doesn't change any of those things. And that's what I've come to realize. And that is really powerful for me. And so, yes, life is difficult and it doesn't always go the way that I want it. And when I lost weight, I didn't then get a dream life, and everything that I wanted in my life. I didn't. But what I have is a life where I can show up and be honest and experience different things. So I moved to a new country. In that time, I've had 4 different jobs, left them for reasons that was valid. I really enjoyed the jobs that I've done. Moved 4 times. I'm now starting a new job, but not in a crazy way. It's kind of in this very same way, showing up, having good relationships, good friendships, and yeah, it's been great. And I'm just incredibly grateful to the program, to the sponsors, to fellows who show up, and just the consistency of the program and having a power greater than myself. I was going to say, when my sponsor first said to me, you are your own higher power, I was so insulted. Oh, I was insulted. Because I just thought, how dare she say this? Doesn't she know about my faith? But the truth of the matter was, it was me. I was my own higher power. But, just now, even the depth of relationship I have with my higher power is amazing. And I'm so grateful, so grateful to God. So I'm grateful to the program. I'm grateful I can be here, and I'm grateful I could share. And is my time up? I think my time is almost up. So I will leave it there. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks.